Hey everybody, so on this video of Hopeful Wisdom, I'm going to talk about a little bit about quarantine dating for marriage-minded people. So this video is not going to have a whole lot for people who aren't married, or for people, I'm sorry, who are married, but I wanted to share some of my experiences and also from what I've been hearing from other friends of mine who are single, who are setting people up, and just kind of offer some feedback on how the dynamic of dating has kind of changed while we're all in quarantine. So I've noticed that there's like right now, people have the time to get to know someone almost better than we normally do. Like we normally can and really open up a channel to meet somebody and to also make it in a vibe of positivity. So, for example, when you swipe right on somebody, maybe only do that if you have an actual intention of making an established connection. Like you actually think you're going to talk to this person should you match with them. Like start paying attention to profiles and really feel it out and really vibe it out and say, okay, what's the likelihood that I actually really want to talk to this person? This is a time, especially we're in the month of Era, which is a month of healing miracles. When you are when you're dating and you're reading the dating profile, if you're dating for marriage and you know for a fact this isn't someone, the type of, you're just not getting a vibe that this is maybe husband material or wife material, but maybe more like I'm lonely and in quarantine and something to do, fight that urge for sure. If you're marriage minded during the if you're marriage minded, definitely remain marriage minded. And this is just some techniques that I've figured of how to like maneuver through those bouts of loneliness and wanting to explore people that it might not make sense to do. But when you go in with the expectation of something being positive, where even if it turns out that it's not going to manifest into a date, at least be positive that was at least feel positive that was the positive outcome. When we go into dating situations and we're starting to meet people, you can just like if someone knocks on your door, you can open the door and say, "Hi, how are you? Come on in." In a vibe of positivity. You could also open the same door and say, "Hi, how are you? Come on in." Those are two very different tones and two different vibes. Right now is the time to take all of that positivity and to put it into your dating life and to say, I'm going to put myself out there in a vibe of positivity, and whatever comes my way is going to be for the very best. So even if it doesn't work out, because it's just bringing you closer and also into the realization of maybe what you want versus what you need. Another thing I found that it helps kill the loneliness. I know this is really hard, but when something doesn't work out, like I was talking about this with a friend the other day, when you talk to someone for a couple of days and you're excited, it's new, and then one person says maybe, you're not for me. You feel like a little pinch of loneliness. There can be like a little bit of loneliness there because you were excited about something for a second. So when your whole vibe is positivity, and especially in quarantine, when you're basically learning how to date in quarantine and learning how to get to know somebody in quarantine, when you're still open to that vibe, you have to let that vibe be positive so that even if it doesn't work out, you accept that like, this is for my very best. And I can still, instead of being discouraged, empower myself that I opened myself to with a vibe of positivity and received the best possible outcome. Now, one of the things that I have been able to do that I'm actually quite proud of, ladies and gentlemen, when someone wants to go out with me or someone is dating me, there is no bullshit. None. Nope. Mm-mm. No bullshit whatsoever. Nope. From day one, I am very honest about who I am. I'm very honest about what I'm looking for. And I open it up again with positivity, but I'm also my honest self. And I like my honest self. So I'm coming in with positivity, with confidence, and with most importantly, with honesty. When people are coming, when you're getting to know someone, especially now over FaceTime, over the phone, it's always better because think about it like this time in quarantine that we actually have to invest to get to know somebody, okay? Like, that's not usual for most of us. Like, most of us don't have time in our regular lives to get to know somebody over the phone. You know, like a lot of us now have time to get to know somebody that we ordinarily don't have. So if you see that someone isn't for you, when you go in with honesty and positivity and who you are and being very transparent about who you are, you'll find that these connections will either enrich from that honesty and they'll continue. Or if you're just not, maybe you're just not the right fit for this person, when you separate ways, it doesn't have to be negative. You have to look at it as, I could have given this time that I have to get to know somebody to the wrong person. When you're upfront from the beginning, there are so many issues that occur in relationships that come up. But if people just talk about them from the very beginning, that's the best way to see immediately, is there actual potential compatibility? When we see immediately, when we're honest with ourselves, we can get that clarity on whether someone is or isn't the right fit for us relatively quickly. And I can tell you, I have dated 2 people in the last 3 months. Both of them are excellent guys. I would recommend both of them to friends of mine. But because we went in, all parties were dating like grown-ups, fair and honest, and about who we are and what we're about. And we took that time to get to know each other before actually going on a date. I'm telling you, it made the decision for one of them I broke up with. It made that decision a lot easier for me. And the other one broke up with me. And that's okay. Because when you're dating, when you are open to receiving love, and God knows that, you're able, and you're dating honestly, you're able to start filtering out the people who are there to waste your time. Like on one of the swipe sites, I actually ran into an old boyfriend of mine that, I'll tell you the truth, I always kind of wondered about this one. So I swiped right. I always kind of thought maybe we just didn't have good timing, but maybe there could have been more of a vibe there. So I was open. Right away, I saw that north of 40, he was still chasing tail. And I said, okay, peace out. Because I mean, but right away, and that's when you're, especially, even though that's a little bit of like, oh, come on, give me a break. Listen, I didn't have to invest any time into finding out if someone was serious about getting to know me or the chasing tail. I can't even say it with a straight face. It's so pathetic, especially at a certain age, like on the other side of 40. It's just, if you're not looking for a wife on the other side of 40, I don't think you're looking for a wife ever. But it's easier when we're straight up and honest with exactly who we are and exactly what we want. And this is a time I would encourage anybody who's on the dating sites and anybody who's trying to find somebody. This is an excellent time to be very selective, to use your judgment, to use your intuition, and if you feel that this makes sense, go for it. But don't give people a lot of time, because this time that we have right now for people to get to know each other and do things, and, I mean, it's because we can't do things. We can't have that time to get to know each other. This time is very precious, especially if you're single, and especially in the month of Yira. I can never say it right, but it's the healing month of miracles. Put that miraculous energy around you. Ask God to bless you with that miraculous energy around you, that you can go into any dating situation with confidence and positivity and honesty, and you know that whatever comes out of it is going to be the best possible scenario for you. Whether that means you meet someone to go out with once the quarantine ends, or it doesn't. It's creating the opportunity for miracles to exist and doing it honestly. Because if you're honestly looking to get married, your priorities are super duper different than someone who's just chasing tail. Hold on one second. Rivka put in, right, some people just want to cuddle. It's cuddle time right now, but once it's done, they'll drop them like a hot potato. Rivka's 100% right. That's what I'm saying. Don't treat this as cuffing season. Treat this as a time that the world has stood still, that the Creator has put us all in a situation, that God has put us all in a situation where we have time to reflect on ourselves, and we have time to meditate and talk to God about what we want out of our lives that we don't usually have. So when it comes to sharing this time with someone else that you might not ever get again, let this be the people that when you're single, for those of us who are single when we're dating, only look into somebody if you see on paper and the vibe from their pictures and whatever, else that you need. If this is someone you think there's even a minute chance you could marry. If there's a minute chance, check it out. But don't give this time to get to know somebody to someone who's chasing tail, to somebody who doesn't know what they want or doesn't want to get married. A guy told me, the person who broke up with me said to me, "You're fantastic. You're wonderful. If I ever wanted to get married again, it would be to somebody like you, but I don't want to get married again." Well, then we have nothing further to discuss. And I didn't need a heartbreaking relationship to find out that even though he's a great guy, if he's not looking to get married, I know right away this isn't the person for me. And I didn't invest weeks or months into getting to know this person. When everybody's coming to the table with full honesty, you can figure out really quickly who is going to be a decent person for you. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. You're one step closer to finding the one that is. We have to look at this as spiritual practice. We're putting in the honest to God work for God to open the blessing of bringing each and every one of us our zivug. For those who don't know what zivug means, zivug is the Yiddish expression for soulmate. Besheret is the Hebrew expression for soulmate. I use zivug. I'm a little more Yiddish, I guess. I don't know. So I think it's important to have self-esteem and to have self-awareness. And even when there's disappointment, because it was disappointing to me, ladies, I'm a human being on planet Earth, okay? It was disappointing when some guy that I had a nice connection with, that I thought was really cute, told me he didn't want to get married. That stung. I'm not going to sit here and lie and blow smoke up anyone's ass and say that that felt good. It did not. I'm glad that I was dealing with an adult, that I was dealing with a man who didn't waste my time. He knew, and this is what he basically said: I knew immediately your wife material. I needed a couple of days to think about it. And now that I've meditated on it, I don't think I can do it. But nothing wrong with you. You know what? These are people who are dating with honesty. And it doesn't have to, even though it sucks, it doesn't have to be the end of the world, and it doesn't have to be heartbreaking. And because I know how exciting that feeling is, you connect for a couple of days, and then it's like, okay, all right, now I'm back to the swipe sites. Okay, I'm still single, and it sucks. And believe me, we all go through it. But when we start looking at it and say, my attitude is positive, I am manifesting positivity around me, even though something didn't go the way I wanted it to, I accept that the outcome was the best outcome for me, and the world is still good. And I can still take the positivity into the next situation, into every connection. Make sure you're bringing into every connection positivity, honesty, and faith. That's what you bring to the table. That you're coming to be honest, and you're not here to waste anybody's time. I'm serious. A good old-fashioned conversation, which people have the time to have right now, is the best way to get to know if someone is really, when the quarantine is lifted, the right person to get to know in person. This is an excellent time to do that. So bring those things to the table. Rivka put, he may have been burned before and he gets it from the other side. Listen, people sometimes that don't want to get married, never wait for someone, by the way, especially at a certain age. I'm a lady of a certain age. I'm 35 years old. I'll be 36 in August. I'm not going to wait for anybody to change their mind. If someone knows today they don't want to get married, I know today that they're not the one for me. Never wait for somebody, by the way. Don't give anyone your years. It's terrible. But when someone gets divorced, that could be a terrible burn, and it takes a lot of healing. You need prayer for that. Your heart needs to recover, and that recovery doesn't happen overnight. I would say for someone who doesn't want to get married, I'd much rather spend my life searching for my zivug than settle for being single. I don't understand it. But that, when that happens, you can also not be the facilitator of that person's healing. Like, a part of me thought, well, maybe if I, negotiate the situation, maybe I could, no. And I stopped myself and I said, okay, it's because I like this guy. I'm trying to negotiate in my head as to whether or not I'm going to be a pillar of a helper in his healing, because he got burned and I like him and I want him to want to get married, right? Not my job. Not my job. And I had to stop myself and take back into consideration, this is my time to get to know a person who is emotionally available and who wants to get married. So sometimes we have to go against our instinct to want to be a friend to somebody, to say, this is my time for me to find somebody. Maybe it's a time for me to be a friend to myself. That's very important. Be a friend to yourself. So don't try to rationalize or renegotiate. If someone says they're not ready to get married, believe them. If somebody tells you who they are and you know it's not for you, don't drag them along. Cut them loose. It's be honest and be open and treat everyone's time with respect. Also, that's so important, because If you're bored with the conversation, chances are so are they. Don't even ghost them. Be a lady or be a gentleman about it and tell them, you're not for me. I wish you well. Don't leave things open-ended. This is a time to get to know the right person. And this is a time to create a situation and to create the miracles and ask God to bless you with the miracles to have your soulmate in your life. This is the time to pray for those miracles and to do the actual tangible work for those miracles to be able to occur. So we want to also create an environment in our lives where these miracles can actually take place. So if we're not being honest with ourselves when we're going into a dating situation, we could be blocking those miracles from taking place. So it's very important to create an opening where these miracles can occur, where these miracles can exist. And every connection is a small miracle, whether it works out or not. It's one step closer to getting to where you want to be. And it's a time right now to settle for nothing less than what you really need. And I think there's a lot of people thinking, can I settle? Settling is for people who have given up. To make the choice that I'm going to be honest with myself and honest with the person I'm trying to date, be positive. You're giving yourself the opportunity to create the miracle to occur from God that your Zivug can come into your life. If you're looking for just anybody and someone to just fill in the space, whether they're nice or not, whether they're good or not, you're not creating a miracle, you're creating a further disaster. We want our relationships to manifest into blessings and to rise above being lessons. Before I sign off, and that was just something I figured, I'm out here dating. I know so many other people are out here dating. I wanted to offer some encouragement to those of us who are dating and say, hang in there. Hopefully some of these techniques will help create and bring the type of relationship that you're looking to find. Also meditate on, make sure you know what kind of relationship you're looking to find. One of the things I do know, for years, and I was a matchmaker for years, by the way, for the people who didn't know, I used to set people up for close to 14 years from all walks of life. And when I set people up, I realized that some of us, it's so hard to be honest with ourselves that it can be tricky when trying to pick from a matchmaker, let's say, someone to go out with, because people don't want to tell you the things about themselves that might be actually personal, but if I were to know that, it would help me match them appropriately. So even now when you're meeting matchmakers, and put yourself out there to matchmakers, be honest with them. Tell them exactly who you are and exactly what you're looking to find. And I think it's just so important to hold on to hope that every person you meet right now, if you look at it and if you're looking at it in a vibe of positivity and you're open to marriage, say, listen, maybe this is the right one. If it turns out not to be, there's your closure, but the positivity doesn't go away. You know what I'm saying? Because you can find out in such a minuscule amount of time what somebody's about, that as long as you're honest and you're ready to say that sometimes the answer to the question is maybe no, it's practice for when it is the right time. It keeps your energy up. And I don't like it when people say that love happens when you least expect it. Listen, I set people up for 14 years. I'm 35 and single. Love sometimes does, to certain people, happen when you least expect it. Okay? Love oftentimes happens to people who desire it and who are creating an environment for love to exist. Most of the time, love, and to find love, soulmate love, zivugim love, is with a lot of desire, Love does not just randomly happen to most people. A lot of us have to do the personal work and have to really focus and get to know ourselves in order to attract love. Love is not something that just happens to people. That is one of the worst expressions I think that ever existed, is that love happens when you least expect it. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Oftentimes, though, it doesn't. Love usually happens to the people who are actively trying to look for it and create it. That's usually the people that are creating the situations for love to occur. So definitely don't let yourself feel overly vulnerable for wanting to put yourself out there for love. Whatever you do, whatever you take away from this video, keep